I am Lorenzo Elliott, a man of 65 years, sitting in the dim light of my study on a stormy night, poring over old architectural blueprints from my construction company. One last review before full retirement. The rain hammered against the windows of our family home like distant artillery fire, a sound that stirred memories I'd long buried. 32 years in America had given me a life of stability, a thriving business, a devoted son, and what I thought was a loyal wife. But at my age, I've learned that peace is fragile and old wounds never truly heal. The power cut out suddenly, plunging the house into darkness, broken only by the faint glow of moonlight through the raging clouds. My hand moved instinctively to the drawer where I kept my old service pistol from my security days habits. Forged in fire don't fade with time. At 65, I'm no longer the swift predator I once was, but experience has made me careful, deliberate. The crude tattoo on my forearm, a skull encircled by Cyrillic numbers, seemed to itch as if sensing the danger before I did. Then came the scream, my son, Alex's voice sharp and terrified. He's 35 now, a successful engineer with a wife and young child of his own, just visiting to discuss handing over the family business. I moved through the house with the measured caution of a man who survived worse than storms, my footsteps steady on the familiar floorboards. What I found in the living room would shatter any father's heart. A masked intruder in black tactical gear held a serrated knife to Alex's throat. My son's eyes, wide with shock, met mine eyes that mirrored his late mother's, but now filled with the fear of a man protecting his own family. "Dad," he gasped, his voice breaking. The intruder's tone was cold professional. "Lorenzo Elliott, your wife paid me $500,000 to make this slow. She wants you to suffer before you die for all those years tied to an old immigrant like you." Something ancient and furious stirred my chest. Catherine, my wife of 32 years, the woman who'd stood by me when I rebuilt my life in America, who'd given me a son and a reason to forget my past. But lately, her late nights, her growing coldness, it all clicked into place. At 58, she craved a new life, free from an aging husband and a son who'd inherit everything. "Where's my wife?" I asked, my voice steady, the faint Russian accent I'd suppressed for decades slipping through like a ghost. "Safe watching from her hotel with her lover," the killer replied, tightening his grip on Alex. "She's done playing house with a washed-up relic, and if needed, your son goes too, to clear the way for her inheritance." I stepped closer and the intruder flinched, unnerved by my calm. "You're making a grave mistake," I said softly. "Stay back or your boy dies first." I raised my hand slowly, then deliberately rolled up my left sleeve. The hitman's flashlight caught the faded ink, a skull with the Cyrillic number 8. His body went rigid, the knife trembling. "No, that's impossible. The butcher of Block 8 died in Siberia decades ago." "Death," I replied, my accent fully emerging after all these years, "is a luxury I was never granted. With age comes precision." I drew my pistol faster than he could react, the shot echoing like thunder, disarming him without a fight. Kyle Carr. That was the hitman's name, a 50-year-old ex-con who'd heard the legends in prisons across continents, stared in horror at the man who'd carved an empire in the Gulag with nothing but iron will and bare hands. As Kyle's phone buzzed with a text from Catherine's status update, "Eliminate son if necessary," I felt the weight of betrayal settle like ice. She wanted us both gone, my son erased as the heir to everything I'd built. But she had no idea who she truly married. The butcher wasn't dead. He'd just been waiting. And before we dive in, I'd love to hear which part of the world you're joining us from. Let us know in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story of sweet, calculated justice. Now let's plunge into today's tale of betrayal and unbreakable self-respect. With Kyle disarmed and trembling on the floor, I felt the old fire ignite in my veins. Not the reckless blaze of youth, but a controlled burn, honed by 65 years of survival. I secured him to a chair in the kitchen, poured us both coffee to steady the nerves, and demanded every detail. At my age, I've learned that information is the sharpest weapon. Force comes later, if at all. Kyle spilled it all, his voice shaky as he warmed his hands on the mug. Your wife contacted Marcus Webb's network 3 weeks ago, he said, glancing at me like a man facing judgment. She wanted you gone, made to look like a home invasion. 50,000 up front, 450 on completion. She said you were old, slowing down, and she deserved better. I absorbed it without flinching, but inside the betrayal cut deep, a familiar ache from decades past. Catherine at 58 had always been ambitious, but this, planning my death for insurance and freedom, I nodded for him to continue, my mind already mapping countermeasures. And her lover, Derek Maddox, 55, finance executive at Meridian Bank, divorced, no kids. He's pushing her to hurry. Some investment needs their combined cash. The life insurance is $1.5 million plus your construction company and house. She figures close to $3 million total. Clean sweep, no heirs to contest. No heirs. That meant Alex too. My son was upstairs now, shaken but unharmed, under orders to call his wife and ensure their young child was safe, no packing bags, just quiet vigilance. At 35, Alex was a grown man, a skilled engineer, building his own life, but he'd been protecting me like a dutiful son, carrying burdens no one should at any age. I stood and walked to the window, watching Kyle's reflection in the Rain Street glass. The man was telling the truth. Fear strips away lies, and at my age I can smell deception like stale smoke. 32 years ago I'd have ended him here. But America and time had taught me patience. Or so I thought. There's more, Kyle muttered. Your son, he knows about the affair. Caught them at the Marriott downtown 2 weeks ago. He's been shielding you, figuring out how to break it without breaking you. The words hit like a gut punch, stirring emotions I'd buried, deep pride in Alex's loyalty, rage at Catherine's cruelty. My brilliant boy inheriting my strategic mind and what I thought was her fierce devotion, except she'd turned it against us both, willing to erase him to avoid sharing the inheritance. Where are they now? I asked, my voice low. Presidential suite at the Meridian Hotel. She thinks you'll be dead by midnight. Maddox is toasting early. I was silent, my mind racing through scenarios like chess moves on a board only I could see. At 65, physical strength wanes, but strategy sharpens every betrayal a piece to maneuver. Then I smiled and Kyle's blood ran cold. It wasn't warmth, but the grin of a hunter setting traps. I want you to complete your contract, I said. Kyle nearly spilled his coffee. What? Call Catherine. Tell her it's done, that I fought it was messy, but Alex and I are both dead. Make her believe. But why? Because Kyle, you're going to help me show my wife and her lover the true cost of betrayal. I opened a drawer, pulling out a thick manila envelope, photographs, financial records, surveillance reports, evidence from the 6-month investigation I'd run, quietly suspecting her distance. His eyes widened. You knew all along. I suspected when her late nights started 6 months ago, confirmed when she consulted a divorce lawyer she thought hidden. At my age, you don't rush, you gather, you wait, you strike precisely. And now I know she's willing to murder her own son for greed. That crosses a line no one uncrosses. My eyes hardened, the room chilling. This wasn't the retired contractor she had dismissed. This was the predator she'd awakened. Kyle studied me, realizing he'd stumbled into a web far deadlier than a simple hit. What do you need me to do? Make the call, then we visit my wife and her lover, but first the stage. I dialed an old number. Marcus, it's Elliot. Need a favor, the old kind. 2 hours, perfect. Hanging up, I met Kyle's gaze. Ever heard of Marcus Webb? Of course, runs half Detroit's underground. He owes me 3 life debts from the old days. Tonight repayment begins. Kyle shifted uneasily. What happened in that prison? I paused, then rolled up both sleeves, revealing the faded tattoos, a spiderweb on the elbow, for kills inside stars on the shoulders. For authority, and the eight-pointed star marking me as vor zakone, thief-in-law, untouchable in the Russian underworld. I was 25 when the Soviet Union crumbled in the 80s, I said quietly. Soldier, enforcer, survivor. Chose the wrong side in the chaos, landed in Crash Shark 25 years. Served 8 long enough to learn survival isn't strength or viciousness. It's patience, care, thoroughness in revenge. Kyle swallowed hard, sensing he had roused a ghost. Catherine has no idea who she married. She loved the man I became, not the one I was. I buried the butcher in America, built a life, raised a son, tried to forget. My expression darkened. But some awakenings can't be undone. Kyle's phone buzzed, a text from Catherine's status. I nodded. Time to play. Tell her the sheep are slaughtered, and the shepherd returns. What secrets would unravel next in that hotel suite? As Kyle made the call, convincing Catherine the deed was done, I felt a grim satisfaction settle over me, like the calm before a storm I'd orchestrated myself. At 65, strategy wasn't about speed. It was about leverage old alliances and striking when the enemy felt safest. Marcus arrived within the hour, his 2 hard-faced men in tow, their presence a reminder of debts from decades past. I wouldn't storm the hotel alone. Age had taught me to delegate the physical, reserving my mind for the kill. We moved silently through the night, Marcus bypassing the Meridian security with the efficiency of a man who'd built an empire on such favors. The presidential suite on the 42nd floor gleamed with city lights through floor-to-ceiling windows, a panoramic view of the world Catherine craved. There she stood, my wife of 32 years, a glass of champagne in her manicured hand, her auburn hair graying at the temples but still falling in elegant waves. At 58, she'd preserved her sophistication through careful maintenance, but I saw the dissatisfaction etched in her eyes, the bitterness of a woman resenting her aging husband. It's done, she said, turning to Derek Maddox, sprawled on the leather couch in a hotel robe. He was 55, lean, but aged by excess, his once sharp features softened by years of indulgence. Kyle confirmed, Lorenzo and Alex are gone, no more sharing the inheritance with that entitled son. Derek didn't look up from his laptop, his predatory smile intact. About time. The Cayman accounts are primed. Zurich investment closes tomorrow. We'll move fast. Life insurance, business assets, house. Close to $5 million liquid by next week. Catherine joined him, her fingers tracing his hair. No more hotel skulking. No more pretending with a man who smells of sawdust and faded glory. At our age, we deserve this freedom from that old peasant. Your husband was useful, Derek admitted, shuddering. His company laundered well, but the man, those dead eyes, the hidden Russian edge. I never understood what you saw in him. Security, she replied simply. Lorenzo was stable when I was young, good for raising Alex while I built my gallery. But now I'm tired of an aging immigrant holding me back. And Alex, Derek pressed, you really had him killed too. He caught us. Derek, what choice besides eliminating the heir means no contest, his little family gets nothing. Their laughter chilled me, a betrayal that pierced deeper than any knife, stirring the emotional void I'd sealed since Siberia. They were so absorbed in their victory, they missed the elevator's chime, the subtle bypass of their locks. Catherine reached for more champagne when the lights died. Power failure, Derek muttered, fumbling for his phone's light. The beam caught me standing by the door, flanked by Marcus and his men still watching. Catherine screamed. Good evening, darling, I said, my Russian accent slipping free after years of suppression. Hope I'm not interrupting. Derek scrambled back, robe gaping. Impossible. You're dead, Kyle. Kyle all said what I told him to. I stepped in, Marcus at my side, his presence a strategic shield for my age. Hello, Catherine, he said pleasantly. Long time. Her face paled. Marcus Webb. At 62, Marcus was a neat, small man, but his scars told tales of Detroit's underbelly. Lorenzo called in old favors, he explained. Something about respect for ungrateful kin. Derek found his voice. This is kidnapping. Do you know who I am? I consulted my phone like a script. Derek Maddox, judge's son, Yale grad bank VP, cocaine habit, gambling, debts to the Torinos, $800,000. I know everything, accounts, embezzlements, the SEC probe hitting Monday. Catherine backed toward the windows, her preserved elegance cracking. Lorenzo, please, we can work this out. I was confused, trapped by age. You hired a killer for your husband and son, I said calmly, the emotional weight crushing. That's not confusion, that's evil. The money we split it, insurance business, Marcus shrugged. She doesn't get it, does she? Understand what? She demanded. This isn't money, I replied. It's justice Russian style. I showed my phone live feed of Alex safe with guards watching via hidden cameras Kyle installed. Our son lives. Say hello to Mother Alex. His voice came cold. Hello, Mother. I heard it all, wanting me dead, calling Dad a peasant. Catherine sank into a chair, the full trap closing. This is entrapment. It won't hold. Marcus laughed. Court. Oh, we're beyond that. Derek lunged for the door, but Marcus's man clotheslined him effortlessly. Sit, Derek, I said pleasantly. We have much to discuss, starting with spending my blood money. As Catherine's terror grew, I settled across from her, the web tightening. Marcus settled into a chair, familiar with the tale, but savoring its retelling, while Kyle guarded the door, his role shifting from assassin to unwilling witness. Catherine and Derek listened, their lives hanging on every syllable, the air thick with the metallic tang of fear. Crash Arc, Federal Prison, Block 8 wasn't like your American facilities. I said, my accent thickening as memories flooded back. Cold concrete, endless winters, the stench of despair in the late 1980s amid the Soviet Union's crumbling chaos. It was a pit for the damn politicals, gang lords, killers. Guards didn't enforce the order. They just sealed the exits. I was 25, arrogant, from surviving the regime's fall, thinking my street smarts made me untouchable. But in Block 8, everything reset, money connections, pride all worthless, in a concrete hell with 300 predators. Survival demanded mastering the hierarchy, vorvi zakone, at the top, ruling by respect and terror. Blatny below, code-bound criminals. Suki at the bottom, rats who snitched. Dmitry Valkov controlled it all, a vor inside for 15 years, his power. Simple loyalty rewarded betrayal, met with slow death. I challenged it, young fool, forming my group, seizing workshops, kitchens, even bribing guards. For 3 months it held. Marcus chuckled. Tell them about the chess. Valkov called me out a game to settle it. Winner takes all, loser dies the old way. I accepted Army champion once, but unknown to me, 3 trusted men had turned promised better spots under Valkov, their families outside secured with bribes. The hall watched as we played. Valkov was sharp, but I had him in check 2 moves from mate. Reaching for my queen, I faced a sharpened spoon at my throat from my own lieutenant. They'd poisoned my meal, subtly clouding my mind, positioning for the kill. The betrayal burned like acid, deeper than any scar family in arms twisted for gain. Derek interrupted, sweating. Your own men. Promised positions, protection for kin outside. I killed them barehanded before the block, the crunch of bone echoing my rage. Then checkmated Valkov, but spared him, initially probing the conspiracy's depth. Marcus took over. Here's the art. Over 4 years into the 90s chaos, I dismantled them all, betrayers, their external families, networks, allies. Turned the prison into my kingdom. They called me the Butcher, not for savagery, but precision, strategic eliminations. That message crossed me, and everything crumbles. At my age now, 65, I've internalized it. Betrayal by family teaches your true foes and forgiveness, a weakness I shed in those cells. Catherine's horror grew. She saw the parallel. You think we betrayed you? I know, I said coldly. Murdering husband and son for inheritance. In my world, no greater sin. Derek stammered, you can't apply that here. I rose, gazing at the city. Here I have resources, money connections to vanish traitors quietly. The difference age has made my justice thorough. Marcus showed the tablet dossiers on their affair Cayman's fakes. We've watched months every call transaction. Catherine whispered, "What now?" That depends on your cooperation. I've prepared 3 scenarios. One lets you live the others. I shrugged. My strategies were chess games of the soul, stripping illusions to reveal raw truth. Option 3, I said, leaning back with calculated ease, offers a chance to prove your love the one worth destroying a family for. Derek sweated profusely, his aged arrogance crumbling into panic. What chance? A test, I replied. In Block 8, consequences expose true natures. Strip comfort and see what's left. You've claimed passion justifies murder. Prove it. I gestured to the screen. In 30 minutes, you'll go there armed with pistols 10 feet apart. One dies within the hour. Survivor walks with life in 500,000. Choose yourselves or both perish. The room's silence save Catherine's ragged breaths, the emotional chasm widening, my heart aching for the wife I'd loved now, a stranger consumed by age's selfish grip. But first, I continued producing photos from the briefcase Marcus brought, facts to flavor your decision. The first, Derek entering a downtown penthouse. Your visits to Renee Gardner, blonde, 26 personal trainer. The one you promised marriage to once this arrangement ends. Catherine's face drained, turning on him with venom. You bastard, playing me? Derek stammered. She's just your other girlfriend. I cut in, savoring the fracture. Thinks Catherine's an elderly client investing dead husband's money. Oh, more, I added, showing Catherine's visits to Dr. Kenneth Gill. Facial reconstruction consultations started 3 months ago, with the insurance tripled. Planning to vanish post-windfall, Derek left holding the murder bag. He gaped. Disappearing, leaving me ruined, Marcus observed clinically. Sociopaths, both selfish with age, loyal only to themselves. Kyle asked from the door, the test. Loaded pistols? I said. One must fall for the other to rise. No force but inaction kills both. Pure instinct, self or partner. Silence fell, their whimpers echoing my inner turmoil. The betrayal sting tempered by strategic calm. You've juggled lies for years, I noted. Derek with 3 women, including his ex, for her trust fund. All for debts cocaine Torinos, threatening your twilight years. Catherine eyed me, honeyed tone returning. Lorenzo, we share a son. Alex needs his mother. Alex, I interrupted, phone audio activating, has a message. His voice rang clear, cold. Mother, I stopped needing you when I caught you with Derek. Stopped loving you hearing my death ordered. Whatever happens, you earned it. Don't use me or my child to save himself. She collapsed, disowned utterly, the sociopathic greed of her later years laid bare. Derek begged, the money, take it all. I laughed mirthlessly. This is respect, consequences, sacred bonds unbroken without price. Marcus's men advance. Escort them. Explain rules. Catherine turned pleading. Lorenzo, I'll vanish, sign everything. You'll face choices, consequences, I said quietly. Like Block 8, but I survived, never betraying family. From the hotel, I watched via the feed as Marcus's men secured Catherine and Derek in the warehouse chairs, wrists zip-tied just loose enough for choice, 2 pistols gleaming on the table between them. The industrial hum in their labored breaths filled the speakers, a symphony of dread that stirred my own buried anguish. The cold echo of Block 8's isolation now turned strategic weapon. My voice boomed through the ceiling speakers, precise and unyielding. Rules are simple, one dies in the hour. Survivor gets freedom, 500,000 new identity. Inaction claims both. Catherine tested her bonds, her graying hair disheveled, voice hollow. Insane. People like me do, I cut in. At our age, she'd said earlier, resenting my years yet blind to her own decay. Derek muttered protest, staring at the guns like lifelines. We refuse, he said. Make him see reason. Catherine silenced him. Derek, listen, this is Russian justice, no bluff. Think what your last hour looks like. All silence descended, their calculations palpable, the emotional void in me deepening betrayal's scar raw after 32 years of illusion. Derek spoke first. The photos, Renee, your surgery, I don't care. We lied, but I lied too, she admitted bitterly. You were a tool to ditch Lorenzo, access his empire. Love building together fiction. What about promises to Renee making me think I was it? She laughed sour. Liars both, I'm better. More silence than Derek. Pact if dying go together. Deny him. Tragic couple, she mused, eyeing him, a weak, indulgent man aged by vice, justifying ruin. You're right, pact it is. Hope flickered in his eyes. Really? Absolutely. She grabbed a pistol. One won't leave alive. He smiled, misunderstanding. That's my... The shot thundered Derek, staring at his blooming chest wound, surprise etching his face. Catherine, why? I've wasted life on weak men, she said, setting the gun down, her voice steady with age's ruthless clarity. First husband, weak you weak. At my years, I see it tired of drags. He slumped, gasping. Pact. I kept it, one dies. His eyes faded, confusion eternal. Catherine addressed the ceiling. Lorenzo test fulfilled. Derek's dead. My money. I felt a chill satisfaction. The strategy vindicated. She'd chosen self over all as predicted. Well done, I replied, smile in my tone. Proven sociopath betraying for gain. Murder over sacrifice, greed over love, even in twilight years. Her chill deepened. I won. Passed. A test, yes, but of humanity after marriage parenthood. Choosing another's life, no spark. Lights dimmed, footsteps emerged, Marcus and men. Spectacular failure, he said admiringly. Even Lorenzo hoped for humanity, but no kill to live. She screamed, promise survivor free. Released with money identity, I corrected. Not to enjoy them. Marcus aimed. In my world, betraying your grown son, erasing his line unforgivable. Her curse echoed with the shot silencing forever. Betraying Alex, his child, at any age, no mercy. 3 days later, I sat in my study, the same room where the nightmare-ignited morning sun filtering through repaired windows, casting deceptive peace over the suburban normalcy. Exhaustion weighed heavy muscles, aching from tension, heart scarred by betrayal's finality. But strategy had prevailed, a quiet triumph amid the debris. The official narrative was clean. Catherine and Derek found in her car at a remote lot, apparent murder-suicide. Evidence painted Derek as the shooter driven by debts, affairs exposure. His gambling documented her insurance motive. Clear weapon his. The police probe was cursory. Marcus's contacts ensured planted clues sealed it within 48 hours. What they missed, evidence bends to those who craft it. Stories endure when convenient. Alex entered with coffee at 35, looking older than his years, stress etching lines around eyes that once sparkled with youth. He handed me a cup, settling opposite my son, now guardian of his own family, the weight of witnessing this carving maturity too soon. Regrets, he asked quietly. I pondered deeply, the ache of lost love mingling with resolve. About your mother, no. She chose consequences followed. About you seeing it, yes. No son should bear such knowledge. I'm no boy anymore, he replied. Stop being one, catching her with Derek ended as a child hearing my death ordered. We sat in shared silence, coffee's warmth contrasting inner chill, my mind strategizing next moves, rebuild, relocate. Alex pulled an envelope. Insurance released $2 million from mom's policy. I pushed it away. Not that blood money. Figured, lawyer setting a scholarship in her name. Catherine Elliott Memorial full rides for disadvantaged kids in engineering construction. I nodded a strategic nod to legacy good from ashes, even if her life yielded none. She loved you her way, just herself more. The doorbell interrupted. Security showed Detective Lambert official yet uneasy. Trouble? Alex asked. Always, I said, tone relaxed despite fatigue. Stay red, act the grieving son. I opened the door, grief and confusion feigned perfectly. Detective news on Catherine. Sorry to intrude in mourning, she said, entering the living room site of Kyle's threat days prior. I offered coffee, declined, and sat with innocent patience. Case file has inconsistencies, she began. Your wife's calls to Marcus Webb familiar. Old friend, I replied evenly. Military days together, Catherine knew him socially. Webb's background arrests crime ties. Colorful past, but legitimate now, security firms. She noted, she called him thrice the day she died last 2 hours before. I feigned thought. Catherine acted odd, months late calls distance, suspected affair with Derek. Hoped wrong, but our problems? Never dreamed this. She scrutinized, seeing only a weary widower. Where were you 10 p.m. to midnight 3 nights ago? Here with Alex, post-break-in aftermath. Police reports there, attempted burglary, suspect fled. Yes, frightening. You stayed up? Comforted him till sleep work, till dawn awake for the call about Catherine. She closed her notebook. That covers it. Condolences if needed, call. Back in the study, Alex asked, how'd it go? Perfect. Last discussion of this. From now, tragic murder, suicide. Your grieving son, I'm betrayed husband rebuilding. He nodded. Now, I gazed out in neighborhood, a cage of pretense. At my age, tired but determined strategy turned to escape. We choose forward. Selling business moving, Colorado, Montana. Quiet. Running. Moving toward debts, settled, path earned. He joined me, sun warming us. Miss her, the woman I loved, yes, but she may never existed, just belief. We stood, father and son, bound by secrets, betrayals, forging unbreakable ties. 6 months after Catherine's death, I finalized the sale of Elliott Construction to a national firm for $18 million, decades of strategic building from nothing, its honest reputation, a premium in the Midwest expansion. The money felt like closure, not victory, a quiet echo of freedom's hard won. The transaction brought relief. My body wearier from the ordeal's lingering strain, but my mind clearer, envisioning retirement's calm horizon. Alex and I stood on our empty house's porch, moving truck loading the last essentials, everything else sold or donated. The new owners, a young family, would arrive soon. Second thoughts? Alex asked, noting my reflective gaze. None, I replied, the fresh air carrying a hint of liberation. Too many ghosts here. Time for new ground. Our destination, Cedar Falls, Montana, a small town of 3,200 nestled in snow-capped valleys. I'd bought 100 acres, a modest ranch house, planning sustainable custom homes as a hobby, not empire. Alex, at 35, would wrap his engineering career remotely, pursuing advanced studies online, see his family thriving in the change. The move flowed smoothly, manufactured grief, excused upheaval. Driving west in our new Ford pickup, Alex navigated, while I gripped the wheel trailer hauling keepsakes. The landscape shifted from flatlands to mountains, stirring deep contentment, the emotional scars fading like distant echoes. Dad, Alex said, crossing into Colorado about Block 8, how'd you escape after 8 years of 25? I was silent, miles peaks rising like old barriers. Soviet collapse in the 90s created chaos. Government economy fracturing. Opportunities arose, escapes, releases for skilled prisoners. The new regime needed navigators between old criminal worlds and emerging ones. Offered finished sentence in crumbling hell or intelligence work with my background. I chose freedom. And America. 2 years of jobs for organizations, then new identity papers, Detroit ticket. Vanished completely, no old ties, no crime, no attention. Kept it 32 years till family threat shifted the board. We lunched in Denver at a simple diner pie shared evoking my first American meal, honest flavors mirroring the life I'd forged. Kyle called. Alex mentioned. Marcus gave him permanent security role. Says he's valuing loyal employers at his age. I raise an eyebrow. Kyle adapts well, quick learner in his 50s. Loose ends tied Lambert closed case. I nodded. Marcus at 62 remained thorough age, sharpening his craft. Regrets on Kyle could have ended him night one. He followed orders switched when truth hit. Wasteful kill strategy spares assets. And if wrong choice, then no Marcus job. Finishing, we pressed on mountains grander. Alex dozing as I drove thoughts on Catherine the Loved versus real Derek's. Blind greed my path from Siberian cell to Montana haven blood-marked. Mostly Alex son facing humanity's dark emerging resilient. My redemption proof good sprouts from shadows. Sunset bathed the Rockies as I former prisoner enforcer contractor drove to peaceful retirement debts, paid conscience eased. Yet what past specter might return in this new life? 1 year later, as I hammered hardwood into a custom home for a retired judge in Cedar Falls, the past resurfaced like a shadow in broad daylight, a black sedan with diplomatic plates pulling up unannounced. My senses remained sharp, the sudden hush of birds triggering instincts etched deep. I set down my tools, the Montana air crisp with pine, but my pulse steady experience, dictating caution over haste. 2 men emerged, one tall and Slavic, the other scarred and broad professionals from a world I had escaped. They weren't for the judge, they were for me. I opened the door before they knocked. Gentlemen not here for construction, I assume. The taller smiled coldly. Lorenzo Dmitry Valkov, hard to track. I think you've mistaken me, I said calmly. Lorenzo Elliott, residential builder. The shorter accented, of course, like I'm Alexei Petrov, cultural attaché. Roles we play. I assessed government type, likely SVR successor, the other vor bearing from old school. If seeking old ghosts wasted time, that man died in Siberia 30 years ago. Did he? Alexei showed tablet photos, Catherine's scene, warehouse Kyle at the hotel. Method scream, butcher of Block 8. The tall one advanced. Proposition return, reclaim place in new order. Not interested. Alexei shrugged. Then your son hears father's history. FBI reopens Catherine. Taxes probe your Montana acres. Calculations fired odds escapes. I smiled, they say, but why been a year without killing. Wondered if age dulled it. The nail gun was in hand before they reacted. First nail to Alexei's throat, second by on a chest. He dropped silent. The tall one drew pistol halfway. Third nail pinned his wrist. Name, Sergei Valkov, he gasped. I paused, pistol claimed. Valkov, Dimitri's nephew from Block 8, said he killed me. Uncle Wien, liar coward, begged in storage. Ancient, now you bleeding sharp-eyed, can't kill intelligence officer consequences. Always ensure they hit right targets. I called Marcus, clean up at Henderson site. 2 packages, 1 breathing deliver, consulate and box bowed. Hanging to Sergei. Tell Moscow Valkov died, Montana accident, tragic final. Elliott values privacy resources to enforce. Or learn why Butcher was contained, not imprisoned. Marcus arrived swiftly, van and men efficient. Alexei wrapped Sergei, crated, unconscious, note warning, bold chance. Won't end, Marcus said. Maybe, but think twice, threatening my son. Next, those survivors. That evening, porch sitting with Alex, sun dipping over peaks, he reviewed career offers. MIT extension research in sustainable design, far but cutting edge. Long from Montana. As far as America allows, he agreed, but works what I want. Quiet moment. Safe that distant, He met my eyes. Past troubles. Handled one today, but men like me breed enduring foes. You friends too, Marcus Kyle, unseen others. And you had taught me strength for whatever. I smiled. Worried. Terrified but proud. Father protects at any cost, honors, commitments, punishes betrayal. In weak promises world, that's inspiring. He set papers down. MIT it is, but Christmas home, knowing it's here. Will be, I promised, whatever takes. Darkness fell, coyotes calling across mountains, ancient survival songs, symbols of enduring strength through trials. I listened, smiling truths, unchanged distance or time notwithstanding. Butcher dead as told Sergei, but replacement, husband, father protector, alive fiercer at 65 with worth killing for stakes. Past settled, future secure, peace, blood, and honor bought. Enough for freedom's dawn, brighter horizons ahead. This wraps our tale of betrayal turned to unbreakable resolve. If this story of family loyalty and hard-won justice inspired you to reflect on your own boundaries, hit that like button, subscribe for more gripping revenge narratives, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What betrayal taught you strength? Drop your story. Let's build a community of resilience. And don't miss the next video. Click now and join the journey.